with the lesson. How's everybody doing today? Feel free to say hello in the chat. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that everything is running properly, audio, video, things like that before we continue, because as you can imagine, if things aren't ready to go when we begin, well, that is going to spell trouble for us. But I think we're probably good to go. All right, great. Let's just kind of get on with it here. Let me get my notes up. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, we're almost ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up the Facebook stream. Give me less than a minute or so. In the meantime, feel free to say hello in the chat. All right. So less than a minute. We'll be ready. Hello students, welcome out to our classroom, Piano Lessons on the Web. Your piano teacher Tim here, and if it's your first time out, make sure you like our, if you're on Facebook, make sure you're subscribed, you have all notifications turned on YouTube because we have new lessons coming out all the time and I don't want you to miss a beat. All right, today I'm going to be teaching you about the circle of fifths and how to use the circle of fifths to become a better piano player. So let's get on with the lesson and then I'll say hello to some people. Looks like we got Scott, Fanny, John. Hello, John. I believe you're new here. And Marcel. All right, everybody. Hello. We are going to get on with it. Here we go. All right. The circle of fifths is a great visual tool that teaches you a multiple... sorry about that. The circle of fifths is a great visual tool that helps you figure out what key that you're in. It also helps you figure out a bunch of other things that's really important to play the piano pieces that you're going to be playing. Well, your piano teacher, Tim, has you covered because I'm going to teach you about the circle of fifths and how you can actually apply it to become a better musician. All right, here we go, everybody. Let me bring something up really quick. Okay, I'm almost there. Great. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to teach you about how to can't talk today. Okay, now I'm going to teach you about how to decipher the circle of fifths. So the circle of fifths is this circle here with all of these letters and colors on it, and as well as these things on the outside that should look vaguely familiar, and these are the key signatures. So those are the things that show a sharp, a selection of sharps or a selection of flats. So the thing you have to know is that in a key, there's a certain number of sharps. Well, let me try that again. The thing you have to know about is what a key is basically all the notes you're going to be working with in a piece. So for instance, the key of C has 0 sharps, 0 flats. So if I play all the notes in the key of C from the starting note back to that note again with all the notes in between, any sharps or flats I may need, that is called the C major scale. And the key of C uses all of those notes. So you can see that from the circle of fifths here. If you find the key signature that's 0 sharps, 0 flats, you'll see in the major key section it says C major right there. There's also a minor that goes along with each key. To figure out the minor, what you got to do is you got to figure out what major you're in. This is if you don't have the circle of fifths in front of you. And what you do is you count down 1, 2, 3 half steps. So what this means is that the key of A minor, starting from A up to the next A, is actually the same. I mean, in terms of sharps or flats, it's the exact same as the key of C. You're just starting on A. And by doing that, that gives it a sadder kind of quality. All of them work this way, where it's basically you're just starting the major scale on a different note, and just shifting that makes all the difference. All right, let's take a look more at the circle here. So if you take a look around clockwise, we've got one sharp with G on the outside. So if you're looking for major keys, you look for the ones on the outside, and then they give you the minor on the inside. So let's take a look here with one sharp. The thing is, now we're going to play the G major scale, which puts all of the notes in the key of G major in order from G, with all the notes in between. But I got to be careful because there's one sharp in this key, and that sharp happens to be F sharp. Moving around clockwise again, now we have two sharps. Whenever you're adding on sharps or you're adding on flats, you have all the flats previous plus a new one. So this time we have F sharp, and then we have C sharp. So what we can do is to figure out the key of D and the D major scales, you start on D, and then you just got to make sure that whenever you hit an F, you're going to play F sharp instead, or a C, you're going to play C sharp instead. So it's really good in figuring out the layout of each keys if you're not familiar with all your scales yet as well. So taking a look on the inside of the circle, remember if we didn't have the circle, you count down 1, 2, 3 half steps, and hey, that's the key of B minor. The only difference is it's the same scale, it's just now we're starting on B, and just careful that that kind of changes where the sharps will hit. Now it's still F sharp and C sharp. It just so happens though that when you're talking in the key of B, that C sharp is the second note, whereas with the key of D, it's not really until the next to last note. So what I recommend you do is go around this circle of fifths, look at the name of the key, and see if you can figure out the scale for each of these keys if you're not familiar with the scales yet, adding in any of the necessary sharps or flats. So you can use this for a multitude of things other than figuring out what key that you're in. So say, now let me try that again. The great thing about the circle of fifths is that if you only have one piece of information in terms of what key that you're in, you can figure out all the other pieces of information. So for instance, you have a key that say has 6 sharps in it. And all you have in your piece is that key signature. You don't have any other information. It doesn't say the key of F sharp major anywhere. Well, what's great about that is you can just find it on the circle, find that it's called F sharp major, and then you can figure everything else out from there. But say that you're playing in a band where it really becomes versatile. Now, obviously, ideally, you want to memorize all this, but if you're in a band and say that, all right, guys, we're going to play in the key of A flat. Well, you don't have the flats written out in front of you. But if you have the circle of fifths, you can actually reverse engineer it. Now you know the key name is A flat major, and then you can go onto the outside and find what key that you're in. Or if it's in minor, you can do the same thing just on the inside. Okay. Okay, continuing here, I want to mention that sharps go clockwise around. As you can see, it adds from 1 sharp to 2 sharps to 3 sharps to 4 sharps. And then going counterclockwise or left, it goes to 1 flat, 2 flats, 3 flats, 4 flats. So just keep in mind that when you're figuring out sharps, you're going to be going around the circle like a clock to the right. And then when you're figuring out the flats, you go the opposite way. All right, guys. And then one thing I want to mention here in the live stream is that when I edit this together, I'm going to be showing different things on the screen to better illustrate what I'm talking about. So make sure that you check out when I post the edited version to this next week, because it's going to have some more information here for you that you can follow along with. Okay. let's do this. Okay, back to keys for a moment. I want to mention a few other things. So in a key, if you put all the notes in order, obviously that gives you the scale. And we're in the key of C major just for simplicity's sake. You can build a chord on each note of the scale. So if you have 7 individual notes in a scale, you have 7 chords that you can build a note on. You just pick the number of the scale note that you're on, and then you evenly space out a chord with any necessary sharps or flats. So you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The most important chords are chords number 1, then chord number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and chord number 5. Those are called the primary chords. And you can actually use the circle of fifths as well to figure out any primary chords you may have. So let me show you how that works. Okay, let's take a look at the key of C real quick, because that's the key that we were in. And if you remember from what I just played on the piano, your primary chords are C, F, and G. Now, looking at the circle of fifths, looking on the outside of the circle of fifths at the major keys, do you see that they're all right next to each other? Like you have C in the middle, that's the key that you're on. And if you go one to the left, there's F, and one to the right's G. And all 3 of those are your primary chords in that key, and it works for all of them. So let's say now that we're in the key of D, so you go 2 to the right over clockwise. Well, if you take a look, our primary chords in the key of D, according to the circle of fifths, are D. Then you go 1B, 4, G, and A. Now let's test to make sure that works in the key of D. So remember the key of D had 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. And building chords on them, you got to be careful, because anytime you have an F or C sharp, or F or C, you got to make sure that it's sharped. Just like that. So our 1, 4, 5, according to the circle of fifths, was D, G, A. So D is our chord number 1. G is our chord number 4. That checks out. And A is our chord number 5. So to figure out whatever... So, hold on. So to figure out the primary chords, what you need to do is you look at whatever key that you're in, and your primary chords are going to be that key. So if you're in the key of C, C, the one to the left, and then the one to the right. That gives you all the primary chords. So you don't have to go through all the process of figuring them out over and over again. However, I do recommend over time becoming so familiar with this stuff to where you don't even need the key, you don't even need the circle of fifths anymore. All right, everybody, I'm going to check in here. I'll probably talk about minor keys here in a second. Let me just make sure everybody's doing well. Hey, Jeremy's here. Welcome back, Jeremy. Really happy that you are back. I talked to you the other day, and you said that you were kind of on the mend, which is really, really good. Or on your way, which is fantastic. Glad to see you here today. And I know we were a little worried about you last week, but I'm glad you're back. All right. Yeah, everybody give Jeremy a nice warm welcome back to our classroom. Trico says, Silva, I'm loving your piano lessons. Well, thank you so much. Glad to hear that you are liking them. Okay, let's continue here. Let me get a drink real quick. Let me get the chat in here. Okay. Almost ready. Minor keys work the same way. So if you have 0 sharp, 0 flats, and you're in the key of A minor on the inside of the circle, your primary chords in that key are going to be A, D, and E. All right, I want to bring an example up, which I have somewhere here. Let me find it. Find the tab that it was in. Here we go. Perfect. we're going to do now is we're going to put everything to practice, and we're actually going to take a look at a piece of music together. We're going to use the circle of fifths to figure out some important things about that piece of music. Okay. Okay, looking here, this minuet, there is one sharp in our key signature. So luckily for us, what we need to do is what? Go to our circle of fifths and find the one sharp on the key signature. And hey, look, over one to the right, there's one sharp. And so that must mean we're either in the key of G or the key of G major or the key of E minor. Now, how do we figure out which one is which in a real piece of sheet music? Well, here I have a pro tip for you. 99, maybe 95% of the time, the first chord and the last chord will match whatever key that you are in. So luckily, the chord right here in the left hand, right in the beginning of the piece, is G major chord, clear as day, nice and root in position. And then if I go all the way down, now the chord is split up between both hands, but if I play all three notes that I have here, three individual notes, I have G, B, and D. Hey, you got G major in the beginning, G major at the end, G major suggested by the key signature. So hey, I'm willing to bet we're probably in G major, and that is indeed what key that we are in. So let's build on that and now figure out what kind of chords we're going to come across. Now obviously your one chord, one of your primary chords, is just whatever key that you're in. So that G chord is your first primary chords. How can we figure out what other primary chords there are in this key? Well, the circle of fifths is going to tell us. So let's take a look. Taking a look at the circle here, we're in the key of G major. So you go one to the left, that's your 4 chord, there's C major, and one to the right, there is your 5 chord, D major. So it checks out. So let's take a look at our piece and see if we can find some of these chords other than the G major chord. We know we have that one. Okay, now looking through the piece, it might not be super easy to figure out these chords because they are split up between both hands and they don't really give you a lot to go by, but if you kind of play the 2 notes that they give you between each hand, you can generally figure out what chord that's being outlined there. So a C major chord right there. So in that third measure, we have a 4 chord. So we had our 1 chord. That's still 1 chord basically. 4, back to 1, back to 1. Now this one's hard to see, but right here you have an outline of a 5 chord. Now they are kind of missing the F sharp there, but it probably is the closest chord that's going on there. So I am finding these chords throughout the piece. Now the question is, are you going to find other chords that are not the 1, 4, 5? Yeah, absolutely you will. But you're going to mostly be seeing the 1, 4, 5 chords in the circle of fifths is going to help you figure out what those are. All right, everybody. Any questions about what we did today? I felt like it was a pretty good lesson. Maybe a little rocky at the start, but I got into it pretty quick. All right. Feel free to say hello in the chat. Hello, Marie. Welcome out to our classroom. Really enjoying your scales. Love the Cherny video. All right. Been away for 25 years. Wow. I don't even think I've been teaching for 25 years, so that is pretty impressive. This explanation has been missing for me. Thank you. Well, you're very welcome. All right, the bird here. Come on, y'all. We should have more likes than 2. Well, 12 at this point. I agree. Oh, yeah. Let me get this. I want to make sure I get this in the lesson. If you're finding this lesson helpful so far, make sure you smash that like button because it lets other students know that this is a quality lesson that they can learn from as well. Great lesson, Tim. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I guess while people are chiming in here, I'm just going to walk you through some things. We're probably going to end a little early today. It is a holiday weekend, but I did want to get one in here today because we missed Friday. All right, let me show you a couple of things. Okay, so over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, I have over 20 courses designed to help you learn a lot more about piano and music. So whether you are a beginner just starting out that needs a solid foundation to build on, or maybe you've been following me for a while, or you've been learning for a while, and you're ready to take your existing skills to that next level, well, I have courses that will help you do just that. Unlike the YouTube channel where I cover something in a video and then I usually move on, you don't really get a whole lot of opportunity to practice. Well, this is different because these are complete courses. You're going to be given videos, but you're also going to be given notes to accompany those, worksheets, real sheet music to play, and assignments around those topics that are introduced in the videos, so that you're not just learning each topic and moving on, but you're learning, practicing, and mastering them as well, which is so important in music. Okay, so feel free to scroll down here and take a look at a lot of what my courses can offer for you. Of course, it works on any device. If you have any trouble at all, I'm more than happy to help you out. Just email me. Whether it's even questions related to the website or questions related to learning music, I'll help you out. And if you really need help, I'll even schedule a call with you to help you. All right, you can purchase courses individually or you can purchase them in a course pack, which is what I recommend because you're going to get a much better deal getting a lot of courses lumped together. So for each pack, you can you click on View Pack, see the courses that are included. If you want more information on each course that's included, just click on that course, and it's going to take you to the course description page, which is going to outline what you're going to be able to do at the end of the course, what you need to know going into the course, pieces you're going to learn during the course, and how long in general it's going to take you to finish the course, although mileage will vary a lot depending on how far along you are or how fast of a learner you are, but that's just a general rule of thumb there. And then down here you can see you can see that you can purchase the course individually or as part of that beginner's pack, or you can purchase it as part of the all course access. So you can pick up one of those course packs if you wish and read about all the courses contained. All right, and if you're interested in that, use code YouTube during checkout to get an additional 15% off any order of course or course packs. Okay, now what I want to tell you also is that if you're attending live here and you want to attend on a regular basis, go to the community tab up here at the top of the webpage, and you can fill out this form to get a reminder 30 minutes before we meet. This is actually much better of a reminder system than YouTube, which can be hit or miss. Okay, most importantly, down below is the calendar of what we're talking about and when we're going to be talking about it. So I do have the topics for June picked out for the most part. The next Friday's lesson, I think, is going to be the 31st, in which we usually do the student showcase, but I think I might skip that one only because I haven't advertised for it. I haven't gotten any submissions for it. So unless I get some over the next week, I probably will probably skip that one and just resume on the end of June there for the student showcase. We'll still have all the rest here, but you can check out what we're going to be talking about for the rest of June. Some of these things I tried to select based on things I haven't really talked about a whole lot before. So I always try to keep things familiar while still pushing forward to new and exciting stuff. Man, these lights are making it hot in here. I need a drink so bad. So hold on. Hold on, everybody. And the problem is I can't turn on the air conditioner. The air conditioner is like right there. And it'll make too much noise. But what are you going to do? All right. Fanny says, right, Jeremy, I'm not doing too bad. After all, perhaps I cheat too, for I am learning the scales by ear as well. And that's an okay way to go about it, but I highly recommend you either pick up a scale book or use some kind of online resource where you have the scales written out right in front of you. What if the song is in C minor? How do you use the circle of fifths then? Well, great question. Let me see if I can answer this. I'm sure I can. Let me find a piece in C minor. I know I have one. Here we go. Just hold on. This one I got to scroll down, but I know where it's at, generally. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Okay, so the question is, what if you're in the key of C minor? Well, first of all, how do I know what the key of C minor is? Well, let's take a look at the circle of fifths and figure out what we could be dealing with here. So here on the circle of fifths, we're looking on the inside of the circle, and we're looking for the C. So if you go 1, 2, 3 counterclockwise, or 3 to the left, I prefer to say, it just makes more sense to me, but counterclockwise is fine. Anyway, you go to C on the inside of the circle, and what does it tell you? 3 flats, right? If you go to the outside of the circle, it also tells you the major equivalent is E flat major. So looking at this piece I brought up, how am I going to figure out whether it's in, hold on a second, whether it is in E flat major or C minor? Well, you can't tell from the first measure, but if I combine all the notes in the left-hand arpeggio here, it makes a C minor arpeggio. So that suggests to me that we're probably in the key of C minor rather than E flat major. So let's double check. Let's go to the end of the piece. Now the question is it possible for the first and last chord of a piece to be different? Yes, it is. It's a little less common, but it definitely happens. But here, luckily for us, I should show you what I'm looking at. That's the sense that I meant to say. Luckily, they have a C minor chord there. Sometimes it'll change key on you, and it'll end on the major, and then it's a little more confusing because the answer is that the key of the piece is kind of both. It starts in one and modulates to another. But anyway, going beyond that, so now we figured out that we're in the key of C minor. We looked up the flats on the circle of fifths. We checked the first and last chord. Sometimes it takes a little work to figure that out. Now, what other things does the circle of fifths tell us? But it tells us also that there are primary chords, or what chords we're generally going to be running into in the piece. So going to C, on the inside of the circle, our primary chords are C minor, the one we're on. You go 1 to the left, F, and then 1 to the right, G. So that's our 1, 4, 5. All in minor, by the way. These are all minor chords, so it's going to look more like this rather than when we were in major. So keep in mind that when you're using minor chords, determining the primary chords in a minor key, those chords will be minor, always. Well, yeah. Let's say for now, always. It's one of those music things. It's always until it isn't. Yes, Bird, get well soon. Got to go, Tim. Nice lesson, not feeling too well. Oh, sorry to hear that. Hopefully you feel better soon. Mozart's Prelude in C sharp minor from Fuddy Duddy. Yeah, hopefully you feel better soon, Bird. Chopin Prelude in C minor. Yep. I think the example I gave you works pretty well. Or what Tim said works too. All right, everybody. Any questions about what we talked about today? Let's take a look here. Oh, Eric Sete, if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, his compositions are very nice. I agree. This is a comment from Santiago. Highly recommend you have a look over his compositions. Yeah, I actually haven't learned any for a while, but they are all pretty beautiful. All right, everybody. Any questions about what we talked about today? If not, I think I'll just end it a little bit early today. Like I said, it is a holiday weekend. Kind of would like to just get outside today a little bit, relax, and then we're going to meet again on Friday. What in the world? Oh, yeah. Friday we might have off. I'll keep you updated with that. I might fit a lesson in there since we missed last Friday. I don't want to miss too many. And then we'll meet next Sunday for what? Good thing I have the calendar, huh? All right, we'll meet next Sunday for How to Solo a Melody. Ooh, that's a new one. Haven't talked about that. Geez, we're going to be in June. When did that happen? And when did that happen? Anyway, I guess thanks for coming by, everybody. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. Go to pianolessonsontheweb.com to see what my courses can offer for you. Make sure that you use code YouTube during checkout to get an additional 15% off. Tim, enjoy your holiday weekend. Thank you so much, Jeremy. You too. I hope that you continue to be on the mend, so we can continue to learn piano at ludicrous speed. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming by today. I feel like there's something that I should be telling you, but I can't remember if there's anything. I don't think there is. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming by today. It's been your piano teacher, Tim. Oh, I want to do an outro. That's what I'm forgetting. And then I will let you guys have the rest of the day for yourselves. Okay, let me think about this lesson. Okay, great. To really put this stuff into motion, you really need to understand more about chords, more about keys, and things like that. And this playlist of lessons right over here is going to help you do just that. Thanks for coming by today. Remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming by today. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Fuddy Duddy asks, by the way, Fuddy Duddy, glad to have you with us. It's been a while. Will you post this video today? Yeah, so the recording, it will be available immediately. It might not be posted on the main channel page, but whatever link that you're looking at this right now, you should be able to, right after we're done here, be able to watch the video. Now, the edited version isn't going to come out until next week. In fact, I have a little bit of a backlog, so it might actually not come out until the week following. So we'll see. It usually comes out the next week, though. And I always put a lot of work into that to make sure that the lesson is very coherent, very cohesive, and I think the edited versions are really nice for that. If you really want to jump in right to the point, no fluff, you'll just have to wait another week for the edited version to come out. Very useful lesson indeed. Thanks, Tim. You're very welcome, Fanny. Thanks all. Really helpful. All right, everybody. I'm glad you liked the lesson. Make sure you leave a fat like on it. Lets other people know it's a quality lesson they can learn from as well. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thanks for coming out to our classroom. Mucho appreciated. We're almost at 100,000. Really excited for that. Probably going to make some kind of video on that that's not too self-congratulatory at the same time. I don't know. I got to put something out for 100K. I usually don't make celebration videos. I made one for 50K, and I'm going to make one for 100. I want to try to make it interesting, though. But anyway, thanks for coming by today. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.